All right, I think we're on. Hey, everybody, welcome to Seahawk Talk. Today we have Ryan with No Border Sports. He's a 49ers fan in here to talk about, I guess, all things NFC West. Yeah, how was your, well, I guess it's Wednesday, but how's your week been so far?
My week has been amazing.
Yeah, I bet Javon Hargrave has something to do with that, huh?
Oh my god. And then Jimmy gone? Oh man. It was hard not to walk around the house like without pants on with a rager for like a day and a half. You know what I'm saying? Hardgrave and Jimmy gone finally because the band-aid's been ripped off. Oh man.
Yeah, I noticed that you guys are a pretty good team. So you guys have had a lot of people signed away so far.
Wait.
Which, I mean, compared to
Sh-
most teams, like you look at the Seahawks, we've had like 3, 4 players signed away from us. I just kind of wrote down the amount of people that were signed away from you. I didn't even realize Aziz Al Shair got signed away until like I was just looking it up, and he was a guy that I really wanted on the Seahawks. So I think, honestly, looking at it, he's probably your biggest loss. You think, or
Um you could you could say, but should we roll that wonderful intro you got first?
okay, yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Man, he
What do
did
you
a
think
good
about
job.
that? What?
I like I like how they got the beast quake in there. I mean, that was
That's why I recommended the Beastquake and the Cam Chancellor hit on Vernon Davis, and then
oh
other
yeah.
than that,
Yeah,
I mean, that happened literally right in front of me. So actually, both those things happened right in front of me. So
the beast quake is one of those like it's worth watching regular on a regular basis because just being a fan of football. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's one of the greatest runs of all time. I mean, it sucks. So my dad, like I said, he passed away about a year ago, but he's the one that really got me into all this. I mean, he took me to all the Seahawks games when I was little and stuff. But he was actually taking a piss when the Beastquake actually happened, because we got the ball out. We figured we'd run some clock, and then hopefully they don't get the ball back. But no, possibly the greatest run in playoff history happened, and he's taking a piss. So
Yeah, no. Um sh- Shout out to Trickster being a joker. He says, this better be good. I'm supposed to pick up my kid at daycare.
oh, it'll be worth it. It'll be
I
worth
think
it.
I think he's making a joke. I don't know if he's quoting from a movie though.
Oh, I don't know.
um,
But
but
anyways,
yeah, we were talking before you said Aziz Al Shair.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, I probably watch the Niners probably like, 5 or 6 times a year, to be honest with you, and 2 of those are against the Seahawks. And it
mhm.
seems like that Al Shair, he is a game wrecker, at least when he played us. So,
All three of them. All three of them.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, Warner Greenlaw and Al
yeah,
Shair.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it was so bad because you could only keep two. You know what I mean? You couldn't pay all three of them without, you couldn't make the moves that you made for Javon Hardgrave and keep everything else together on the back end if you would have locked down Aziz. And like
Yeah.
Greenlaw went out, Fred Warner went out, and Aziz was the one with the dot on his head helmet, and he was running things. So, and I don't know. I don't know if he had a shot because turns out, I guess the Texans were going for him, and Rand Carthen, our old vice, oh, our old like uh, one of our guys in our top like GM type, in the front office.
Mhm.
He made a deal last minute with Aziz to get him to Tennessee.
Oh, that's where he
So
went to. Yeah, I was
yeah,
seeing that.
Ryan Carthen is the reason why Tennessee cut everybody. He went in there, he got hired on as GM, and he like went through and just gutted the whole team, which I'm not saying isn't smart, because the way I see it is they were trying to, they had a guy like a Marshawn Lynch, right? And they
Yeah.
were trying to build a whole team around him.
Mhm.
Well, when you have a guy who's that physical and that strong and all this and that, he's going to get injured down the road, and he's not going to be able to be available every game. And if that's the case and you built your whole offense around it, so what are you going to do when he's out?
Yeah, and
So
even when he was healthy last year during that huge skid they had, I mean, I think for the most part he was playing every weekend, but it's just yeah, you're
it's,
right. When you build your team around one guy. So,
yeah,
but yeah, it'd probably hurt to lose Aziz there. I really want him. I was so bummed out because I was just checking like, before we got on, I was like, okay, who's all gone from the Niners? And I saw he was gone. I was like, God damn it, dude. That was the one guy I wanted to poach. So,
we
um,
really haven't been hurt that bad this year.
no, I see Jimmy Ward and Emmanuel Mosley. I
Yeah.
thought they were pretty decent. I don't know about from your perspective, but
Oh yeah. So Emmanuel Mosley. Okay, so we got Charvarius Ward in free agency last year. I don't know if you knew about that. Okay, so we paid him like he was CB1 money kind of on our team, right?
yeah,
So when when the season started, we all were like, E-Man's better than Charvarius Ward. Like, well, that's essentially the feel I had. I know a lot of 49ers, well, I wouldn't say a lot of 49ers, but there was a group of 49ers fan who had the same feeling. Well, when E-Man went down, that's what we call Emmanuel Mosley. When E-Man went
yeah,
down, Charvarius Ward said, now I have to step up and be the CB1 that, you know, that I have to be. In other words, he didn't think he was cornerback one with Emmanuel Mosley on the team on the other side.
okay,
And E-Man is very good against DK. DK and E-Man is a great matchup, and just E-Man is just all over me. He's in his back pocket the whole time. And I'm sure that just messes with DK's head, because DK is, such a, he's like a
a
stallion.
freak.
You know what I mean? Like he's like
Yeah, he's
pedigree racehorse. And if you got somebody sticking around that shouldn't be sticking around, it's going to get you pissed. Like, I'm supposed to be the show here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
stuff. What are you doing hanging around? So E-Man was that's the one guy I wanted them to bring back. But I think what happened is they were able to keep Jake Brendel, which is our center.
oh,
And
okay,
they paid him, and I could see it being, you bring back E-Man who's gotten injured, or you bring back Brendel, who, if you bring him back, you're starting safety in the 49ers scheme, you're going to have a better start to the season than if you don't, because on all offenses, everything runs through the center. You know what I mean? As far as uh, protection packages and all that good stuff.
yeah, communication wise,
Right. You know what I'm saying? All runs through there. So you're talking about, you're bringing back the guy who went from never starting as a center ever in the NFL to being a backup Pro Bowler. And
yeah,
then now you get to bring him back. I think it's a better call. I think all the way around. It's just, as a fan, it's heartbreaking because we love even E-Man. I don't even remember. I think E-Man might be undrafted. He might be
I,
undrafted. He might be a fifth. He might be a fifth round. He might be, no one
he
ever
was a
thought he
late
was gonna.
round pick.
Yeah. And he found a way to stay around on this team. And look what he turned into. And I personally don't think 6 million is enough. But he got dinged with that injury, so he's got a 1-year prove-it deal. I'm glad he's over there on the Lions. I hope he balls out and gets paid. Love that man.
That's how I feel with players unless they leave on like a really low note and trash talk everybody or request their way out of here like number 3 did.
Or they don't
Um,
do anything. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't see him trying to get better and then they never get better, like plateau. That's what my big problem with Jimmy was.
mhm.
Plateau.
And always hurt, right?
Well, that
So,
doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter, because when you're in the game, You're never getting any better. And teams are only getting better at picking you apart. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly. They
So
have
if you're
tape on you every game you
yeah,
play. Yeah.
yeah. It's only a
Yeah,
amount
I
of
don't know.
time without changing it up until someone figures out everything about you.
Yeah, there's players that we lost like this year we lost Penny. You probably never see him play because he was hurt all the time.
No, I know about Rashad Penny.
Yeah, so I don't even has he ever played against you guys though? I mean, he was hurt all the time.
I
So
don't know. I just know him because I live up here in Washington, so you know what I mean. I've seen the games,
yeah,
so I've seen him around.
SDSU.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, and yeah, I hope he can stay healthy because he wasn't like we had a guy named CJ Procise on our team a couple years ago,
yes, he did.
and it was always soft tissue, stuff like my hand aches, something like that. And Penny was getting torn ACL, his leg snapped in half, everything like that. It was just super bad luck. And you always want the guys that actually worked hard and tried their best to be on the field to always succeed wherever they go. So,
When I played football, we had people who were talented, but they were divas. I'd rather play with somebody who might not be as good as everybody else, or might not be as good as the gifted athletes, but they're going to give you 100% down in, down out, and you could depend on them to do their job and do it consistently. And I would take that 100% of the time because you could bank on that. You could turn your back to that part of the field knowing that person's got that part. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. And it's the ultimate team game, right? So, I mean, compared to literally any other sport out there, I mean, you get an
There's a
all-star and you get an all-star in basketball, you're gonna do good. You get an all-star in football, you could win 2 games. That's kind of
there's a
what.
great quote about rugby and football, and I can't remember what it is, and I'll slaughter it, so I won't say it. But everybody, you got to look up this quote about football and rugby. It's kind of like pretty much saying like rugby is a game of like criminals played by gentlemen,
Mhm.
and football is a game of, I can't remember. It's pretty much like saying like it's a game of chess but played with like freak athletes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's like
I mean, it's true. It is so true. But I just want to say, what up, homie? Happy what the Niners did in free agents. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you be? You got Javon Hargrave. I know you guys didn't like McGlinchey, so you let him go.
well, I think he probably priced himself out. Whether the fan base liked him or not, the front office and Kyle seemed to really appreciate having him around.
Yeah,
Which
I heard. Oh, pardon.
I don't know. Like everybody around the league thinks Mike McGlinchey is great, but when you watch him on pass plays, like Trey is getting wrecked in the backfield and Mike McGlinchey pops up. He was the one supposed to block him and pops up, runs off the field while Trey's still laying on the ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry, but you
Yeah,
don't let that shit happen, especially when when you're the offensive line. Like, I was playing football and our quarterback got face masked from behind like that to the point where his legs went out in front of him. Like he came back like crying because he was like shook. You know what I mean? Like I talked to him later, like 10 years later down the road. He didn't even remember that. I said, "Yeah, dude, you were shook crying." He's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah," for like a couple seconds. Like I ain't passing judgment because you know what I mean? Like he got like it was bad. And like the coaches immediately, like my offensive line coach immediately grabbed us because I wasn't playing at that point, and he grabbed us like, "Don't go out there because that's what you're supposed to do. You're offensive line, quarterback, doesn't matter if you're on the sideline, this that. You're supposed to beat somebody's ass. You know what I mean? Like that's the job,
yeah,
man."
that's how it was. I mean, I think 10th grade was the last year I played, and I was always known for, I'd have my boys back no matter what, right? So when some shit was going down in the middle of the field, I was the one they'd have to scream my name and grab me, So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I see you got Sam Darnold. I mean, I was kind of laughing at that just because it's like you guys almost can't have enough quarterbacks, right? Because they're
Right.
especially what we saw in the NFC Championship game. It's like, as much as I hate the 49ers, and I do hate the 49ers, I was like, man, this is hard to watch just because they could only throw it, what, 5 yards down the field maybe?
Yeah. It was like the only reason why Brock Purdy was in there is because somebody had to call out the play.
Yeah,
Juice,
and
like McCaffrey tried to call out the play for one play, and he had issues, and he was like, "Crap, we can't do this." And so Purdy had to go out there just to call the play, like, like that is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it's basically 10 on 11, right? So,
Oh yeah.
and then I mean, I think I don't know if anybody's talked about it since, but maybe add a 54th roster spot, or I know during game day it's 49, so maybe make 50 available on game day and just almost make it a requirement to have 3 quarterbacks after watching that.
I
What do you
I don't think that that's a bad thing, but I still think they need to increase the the amount of players that you can carry on the sidelines anyways. I
Yeah.
think they like with how many games they're running this year. Look at what happened going down the stretch. If every
Mhm.
team had like, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 more players on their team, you
Yeah.
might be able to see a lot of more teams make better runs. You know what I mean? Increase the cap a little bit more. I don't care if the owners don't want to pay, but increase the cap a little bit more so you can make room for these 10 more players and then let's do it. Like
Yeah.
I'm down with an 18 game season, 2
Mm,
bye weeks. I'm down
ye
with all that. But
I was always fine with that too, just because I'm a weirdo. I like even numbers. I thought 16 games, 6 teams each in the playoffs for each conference. I thought that was perfect. I didn't like the 17th game just because records and stuff, but you
I
know,
just I just think we should have more players on the team so there's options. No one has to feel like they need to go back out when they're hurt so
hmm
they can stay and, not suit up and get better and then come back when they're 100% and actually have a better run at things. Like,
yeah. And I mean, look at the end of the preseason every year. There's so many guys that get cut. And there's so many guys that you think, oh, that guy's going to make the team, and then he gets cut just because Michael Bennett, he was a Seahawk, he was a rookie and undrafted free agent in 2008, and we ended up cutting him because we needed a backup left guard or something like that on our roster, and it's like, dude, we let go of Michael Bennett. Obviously, he came back
yeah.
uh, 5 years after that, but still, I mean, you're letting go of talented players just because you don't even have the space on your roster, right? So
Or like you move people to the practice squad. Well, what if you could move certain people to the practice squad and they couldn't get poached? You
yeah,
know what I
that's
mean?
what,
Stuff
like a
like
protected.
yeah. I know they could what is it? I think they could tender, but I don't even want a team to have to tender anything. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't even know that. I thought every player on the practice squad was kind of free game,
I don't know.
but
I
I
thought you could tender somebody and send them to the practice squad. So if somebody wanted to poach them, they would have to put up the capital. But
oh,
I don't know. Don't quote me. Don't quote me.
yeah, yeah, me neither. I'm just an idiot when it comes to that. I had to look up the difference between we uh we put the restricted free agent. We signed one of their tenders. He basically started us at strong safety all season, Ryan Neal, and PFF graded him as actually the best safety in the league last year. But it was called. It had some weird name to it that I've never heard before. It was like, I couldn't tell you. It was like first chance of refusal, restricted free agent tag. So I had no idea what that was, and it just basically means if some other team signed him, they don't have to give up the draft capital that they would have. It's weird. There's some weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of what these teams do, like I don't like the franchise tag. I personally like someone doesn't want to be on your team. You don't get any right. You don't have any right to say, "Nah, you got to stay." That's not cool. Fuck that.
Yeah, I think the only thing I like about the franchise tag is when it does work, if you just need to buy a little extra time to, figure things out with that guy. Or yeah, I guess you're right. It
You know what I'm
is it is
saying?
kind of an asshole move. Yeah.
You get to buy yourself more time to figure out things with the guy. Well, how about you just give him an offer that they like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess especially with a rookie or especially a first round pick, you've had 5 years to figure it out with the guy. Like with
Exactly.
the Ravens are going through it with Lamar right now, and I just find that completely insane what they're
So
going on.
they're tripping about all this money, right? Okay. I get it. Now I guess some of the fans are like, he made business decisions. Yes, he made a damn business decision. He didn't want to come back to play a game where they're going to try and run him into the ground to try and get further into the playoffs without being secured a contract, because they didn't want to really make an honest offer in the beginning of the season. They're trying to
Well,
get
and
him on the
yeah,
low.
and they run him between the tackles like he's a running back too. So it's
Yeah.
not it's not like it's a bunch of play
They have
action
not
bootlegs.
put any pieces around him.
Mm-mm.
How much has he made? I think he averaged something like for maybe $2 to $4 million a year for them. So
Really?
I think it's probably, well, on average, probably about $4 million a year or something like that. Um, so you're talking about 4 times 5 to 20. How many $1 million have you made off of him?
A lot. Yeah.
Oh, so his signing bonus really doesn't seem that big when you take into account 5 years of him playing great in your system. Oh,
I think he does need an agent though, just because I heard one thing, and I'm all for players representing themselves, obviously try to get the most money while you can. But the only thing I heard this on the radio the other day, they were like, he was the MVP in was it 2019? I think it was 2019 he was the MVP. But how many commercials do you see him on compared to most people that are MVPs, And your agent, he's there to negotiate those deals and stuff.
your agent isn't necessarily to negotiate those deals. You can have a different agent for that. And then you can have an agent that's for
Contracts, like
yeah.
team contracts.
Yeah. So and the one thing I think that probably isn't the best thing about being your own agent is you're going to have to listen to the team talk shit about you,
Yeah,
which
exactly. That's another thing.
I don't really have an issue with, because if more players start doing this, I bet you teams are going to change their tones when they're,
Yeah, they could.
because now they're probably going to mess up a couple deals, acting like that with certain players, and then they're going to have to change their tone. So I really don't care.
Yeah, they're gonna I guess you're right. They're gonna have to start acting more like college recruiters
Yeah,
than businessmen. So
yes.
I guess you're right. But another interesting signing I saw. Another interesting signing before we get onto the Seahawks is Cleveland Farrell signed with you guys, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah, I didn't. He was a first round pick for the Raiders, right? One of the Gruden
yes.
picks.
He was one of those reach. He was
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
the reach picks. Yes. So which is fine. Which is fine for us. I believe I've told you this before, and 40 or Seahawks fans, this is the only time you're ever going to get this great advice from a 49ers fan, okay? And if you can, please share it with your management or not. I'd actually appreciate it if you didn't. But so the 49ers are great at taking defensive linemen and having them have breakout seasons in our scheme, and then go to other places and not perform the same way.
Oh, trust me,
And
we had Kerry Hyder Jr.
Kerry
last year.
Hyder,
I
yeah.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so we do this because we've got Coach Kasarik. And Coach Kasarik runs the wide nine, but I don't even know if it's the wide nine's a thing. I think he just has better instinct, and he teaches the guys how to play fast and free. And so it just lets them be basic essentially, and they just have to worry about the guy in front of them for the most part. And he sets them up in good positions to attack them every week. So I think the problem isn't with the players, it's where they go. It's they get a player and they bring them over. Now, oh, we're plugging you into our system. Now in our system, you're going to do this, this, and this, this, and this, and this. When what they probably need to do is go, hey, what did you do last year in San Fran? You just do that. Okay. We'll figure out what you're doing, that we're everybody else will kind of plan around that. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
yeah.
it's the same thing with the Seahawks and defensive backs. Pete coaches these defensive backs.
Yeah.
They're good for us for 2 years, and then they get a massive contract somewhere, and then they get cut. It's happened so many times. It happened with Byron Maxwell, Jeremy Lane, Shaquille Griffin was the last one. I mean, DJ Reed played pretty good for the Jets last year, but I mean, it happened with them. We coach up these DBs, and then they go places, and they totally underperform because they're not in a simple. They're not really in a, like you said, he cuts those guys loose, right? So they're not in a simple scheme. Like, we're a base cover 3 defense, and you saw it against you guys in the playoffs in the second half. We could not get to the quarterback whatsoever, and that's why your receivers were able to run those deep crosser routes, because you can't cover the guy forever, right? At some point, Woolen has to decide, okay, am I going to stay up the sideline or am I going to cut in the middle? And then when you make that decision too late,
that's the scheme.
Yeah,
that's the scheme.
Exactly.
And so I had somebody, who was it? It's Darius. He's on the Pat McAfee show. He's a defensive back guy. Darius, is it Darius Leonard? No.
Darius Butler.
Darius Butler, yes. So Darius was explaining in some of these plays, he's like, look, when people are this open, it's not that somebody forgot what they were supposed to do. It's that the scheme broke the defense. And I was noticing that in the second half of the playoff game, that our scheme was breaking your defense. You know what I mean? And it's you're right. Somebody has to make a decision. And that's what the whole scheme's about. It's putting all these routes out there to make one guy have to make a decision on a dilemma. Do you know what a dilemma is?
Yeah.
A dilemma is something that has more than one solution, but either solution is not a good outcome.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, that's what
you don't want problems. You want dilemma. Problems have solutions that could become over. You know what I mean? You want dilemmas.
Well, I think that was our problem in the second half, is we had no pass rush against you guys, and then they could run those routes, right? Where our zone coverage is going, okay, do I stay up the sideline or do I cut in the middle with this guy? You know what I mean? I mean,
it's hard to sustain a pass rush throughout a game when the 49ers keep consistently driving and will keep your defense out there. I personally would like to see the 49ers come out in the jumbo in the first half, come out in the jumbo and just hit people right up the gut and just smash them in the face. You know what I mean?
That's the kind of football I like anyways. I mean, you see my hat, right?
Make them nice and slow. Yeah. And then in the second half, let's do the outside zone, because everybody's tired, gassed, and winded from the
beating.
Yeah, from the beat, I can't even think of the beating that you do with that type of offense, and then you don't have the speed to catch to the outside zone afterwards. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
our wide receivers block, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something you don't see a lot in the league, is these wide receivers blocking like tight ends out there.
And that's another thing I was going to bring up about the 49ers too, is like, I'm in fantasy group chat with a bunch of friends from my fantasy football league. They're in a Gig Harbor, so down south,
Yep.
And they're like, man, if Ayuk went somewhere, he'd be a real wide receiver number one. And I was like, dude, I think Ayuk is the wide receiver number one.
The wide receiver number one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more afraid of Ayuk than I am Debo. Like, really, I'm one of the few people that.
Well,
I mean,
yes and no.
Go ahead.
When you're lined up on the line and you're talking about one-on-one, you need to be worried about Brandon Ayuk over Debo because Debo's not necessarily going to get separation, but in the scheme where Kyle breaks defenses, once Debo's open and has space, it catches that ball on the run. It's way more nasty than what Brandon Ayuk brings to the table. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he's more of like a DK Metcalf, and
it could be
Ayuk's
a
more.
it could be a touchdown every time he catches the ball in open space like that. He already sees the field. He's got the moves. You know what I'm saying? So Brandon Ayuk is a different beast, though. Like, was it last year? I think against the Rams, he was one-on-one with Jalen Ramsey. He broke Jalen Ramsey down so bad. It was so bad. Like, he was standing probably, I don't know, 8 yards away from him by the time he had done it. Jalen Ramsey had given up because he got beat. And it wasn't, Brandon Ayuk didn't even catch the pass. The pass wasn't even going to him. He broke him down and make him just look like an idiot right then and there. And I was like, oh my God, because Jalen Ramsey, hella good when it comes to coverages and just staying on top of people. He had that guy, like, don't play Brandon Ayuk basketball. He gonna make you look idiot. He gonna make you look like an idiot.
I was speaking of that, did you guys have some pretty good beefs with Jalen Ramsey? Some pretty good battles like we have? Because our wide receivers have gotten into it with Ramsey a few times.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jalen Ramsey always tried to have something with Debo, but it never really worked. You know what I mean? Like, it never really worked because there was never Debo was always getting off on him. You know what I mean? Like, there was the play last year where Debo gets the ball on the left side of the field, works his way back across the middle, and there he is, open field. There Jalen Ramsey is open field. Jalen Ramsey is one of the sure tacklers on the in the field. He comes up, he just boom right off of Debo's thigh pad, and Debo went for a touchdown. You know what I mean? So
yeah, DK also is a hothead too. So DK and him would go
bro,
at it. I mean, they'd be fighting across the field. It was fun to watch. I'm gonna kind of miss playing Jalen Ramsey, just that aspect. I mean, I don't like playing against him, but it's always fun to watch, if that makes sense.
DK and Ramsey are the same man child.
Oh yeah, they get paired.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
when DK was in the draft, I was like, oh, we should get him. And people were like, his cone drill. I was like, I don't give a shit about no cone drill. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I remember
Look
that.
how tall he is. Look how tall he is.
His cone drill is slower than Tom Brady's. I remember that.
Hit the man running with the ball. Hit the man who's running that way. That's all that matters. Hit him going that way. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I used to love watching Anquan Bolden
Mm-hmm.
because third and short, guess who's getting the ball? It's Anquan Bolden. And he's getting that first down. And if I had DK Metcalf, that'd be the same thing. I would have a specialized play. And you'd see it half of the time on third down, third and short. And it would be, okay, this whole play is dependent on how you're going to play DK. If you're going to play him on the line, okay, so we're gonna go down the field on you. If you give him space, well, I'm just throwing the slant real quick. We're getting our first down, and we're gonna go, run the ball the next down. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it would be. It would be all keying on the defense and what you did to him because you just got to get to a spot. You know what I mean? And throw it.
Yeah, and that was a talk last offseason. It'll probably come back up, but it's almost like we need to use DK more like the Niners use Debo, if that makes sense. Like, we'd like to see him in like sometimes getting the ball like on jet sweeps and stuff like that. Actually running the ball. So
I don't know if I would do jet sweeps with him. What I might do is put him in the backfield at times to cause some mismatches with like linebackers and have him, come out for a pass out of the backfield. But what I really would do is I would try and get him the ball in space, kind of like the 49ers do with Debo. Not necessarily a screen play, but down the field, that nice open up thing, because you catch him in stride with the ball where he's already up to speed, and there's a lot of cornerbacks and a lot of safeties in the league who can't make that tackle. You know what I'm
Yeah, we've
saying?
seen it. We've seen
Yeah.
it, yeah, when he gets
I'm
hit in stride, it's beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I would be focusing on.
Yeah, our receivers too, it's so funny to look at because you have DK 6'4", just massive, right? And then we have Tyler Lockett, who's just as effective. He's 5'10", this balding little guy, and he finds the open space and he makes the tough catches. So I'm
And
happy with our wide receiver.
I think he's really smart for getting down as quick as he does. I
Yeah, it pissed us. It did piss a lot of fans off for a while, but he doesn't get hurt. I mean, knock on
That's
wood.
what I'm saying. Availability is the best ability. And not only does he put up the numbers, but he's there every week. So the only way, the only way he's really getting hurt is if the quarterback is throwing a bad ball, throwing him a ball
A,
where he's
a
about ready
hospital
to get
ball.
hung out. Like it,
Yeah.
yes, the Jimmy Garoppolo hospital ball. That's what we call him. Oh God. Oh no.
He threw a lot
You
of those.
telling you, go back and watch any game with Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle that played in the same game, and Jimmy's going to throw George Kittle a hospital ball once every game. I don't
Oh,
know
really?
I don't know how George Kittle was like so fond of Jimmy. He had his worst games under Jimmy. George Kittle had better games with every other backup he's ever played with Jimmy Garoppolo, and he didn't get the hospital balls every week like Jimmy did. Jimmy's like, oh, he's open for now. At least he'll be open enough to catch the ball. Sometimes not even that. And he's like, there was a couple times where I thought he was going to lose his ACL. Like, I can't remember what game it was, but I remember it was like a first drive, and like, so he was getting hit up top, and somebody was coming down low, and his leg wasn't able to come off the ground. And I was like, oh my God, he's fucking gonna die out there. And then he popped up, got back in the huddle, and I was like, oh my God, George is a beast.
Yeah, I like Kittle.
Speaking of which, have you been looking to draft at this Sam Laporta?
So is he the Notre Dame guy or is he the Iowa guy?
No.
Okay.
I can't
No.
remember. He might be Iowa.
He's a tight end,
I
right?
think he's Iowa. Yeah.
Yeah, he's Iowa. So him and Fant and Kittle. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So in the middle of the season, obviously, I think it was the 49ers game when they came here. I was with my dad's friend at the game, and I go, God damn it, can we just draft whoever's coming out of Iowa this year? Just draft that guy at tight end, and he'll probably be pretty good. And then yeah, I saw that he had like all the best numbers coming out of the combine compared to like Fant and Kittle.
Don't care about the numbers. Watch the tape. If you watch the tape, you're like, okay. Like I was like, if we could move up for somebody, that's the guy I want us to move up for, because if we could hit a 22 personnel with that and then just move Sam Laporta off and then bring in, I don't know, Brandon Ayuk or Debo, probably Debo, because Brandon Ayuk starts to be one. Bring Bo in and then go to the 20 personnel. I mean, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine having
Yeah,
two
you guys
Kittles
are
on the
scary.
team in our run game. Two Kittles on the team with Juice Tech in our run game.
Yeah, I like how you guys use a fullback. I mean, honestly, nobody else uses a fullback in the NFL except maybe the Ravens, and I'm jealous of that.
It's so sad.
It's a dying position, and that's why my dad's friend, he watches all the games with me. I'm like, let's just get a fullback. Let's just get a fullback and run it up the gut, or do something. But the fact is, it's 3rd and 1 or 4th and inches, and you're out there in shotgun. That really pisses me off when teams do that.
I think reason why people don't focus on the fullback is because first thing, colleges don't do anything with them for the most part. And I think that's where it starts to die. But I think NFL teams, like if you watch 49ers at all, you should have an idea how you could find somebody to work with, to brings another level, because all you're looking for is somebody who's smart enough to figure out who they need to block in real time, and then somebody who can make a block. And then you can have an offense kind of like the 49ers do. You know what I mean? It's going to be hard to get somebody who can do all that and then line up wide and run a route like a wide receiver can, like juice check, because that's nasty, bro. That's like it's like a cheat code. You know what I'm saying? To be in our 21 personnel, have a fullback who you could essentially go 5 wide, and it's not like some kind of joke. Like you gotta worry about all 5 of them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what? A fullback? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. Yeah, him and KJ had beef a couple years ago. I remember that, but that's... Can you hear me?
You got dip? Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, you dipping?
Yeah.
No, you're
sorry
good.
about
You gotta
that.
get this stuff though.
Oh no, I'm a Copenhagen guy.
Oh, you don't.
Oh,
you
hey.
don't have to. I got one in. No spitting. What up, Eric? I was hoping Eric would come through.
Eric's I guess he's a Seahawks fan. I think he came over from you guys actually.
Yeah, I told him. I told him we got to check you out. So, making sure. There's also I'm trying to get. I think I was talking to some Seahawks fans last night, and I think they might be showing up to the call-in Friday. So you should jump in too. There's Seahawk Eddie. There's a couple more. But yeah, we've got Seahawks fans up in our chat. So I was, trying to get them all over to your channel.
It doesn't to me, like I said, there's so few Seahawks, people on YouTube, and then just type in 49ers and they're. But Ted really is the one that got me he helped me out with a lot of this stuff, He's been a cool guy.
Oh, Ted's a straight up dude.
No, I was gonna ask you before I get off topic, Javon Hargrave, you guys are pretty stoked about that. And then what are you guys' plans with Kinlaw, seeing that you have Hargrave?
So if we wait till after June 1st, we can trade Kinlaw and I think save $2 million.
Oh,
so I think that's the course. Because now
you guys don't like Kinlaw.
He hasn't done anything except for Do you know about Javon Kinlaw at all? Did you hear about him getting in a fight with a reporter and all that?
With Grant Cohn? Yeah, I heard about that.
Oh,
yeah,
I made a video. Yeah. It's called Mook Beth. it's a play off of Macbeth.
Oh, I gotcha.
So, oh gosh, it's crazy. I spent like my birthday weekend putting together this video and going through like, I don't know, like 3 hours of North Korean propaganda cartoon. Yeah, well, it was the only one that had like a squirrel that was like going to attack somebody. So like Javon Kinlaw was pictured eating a squirrel or like had a dead squirrel in his mouth, because he shot it or something like that.
Oh, and I didn't know anything about that.
Well, he's from the country, so squirrel ain't nothing, you know what I mean? So he's got a squirrel in his mouth, and so I made a joke about this squirrel king got killed, so this other squirrel's now coming to avenge his death. Essentially the story of Macbeth. But as this is all going on, it's the actual live stream where Javon Kinlaw was yelling at Grant Cohn, and then at the same time he's complaining about what Grant's doing, I flip over to another content creator's stream where he's saying, oh, I don't care about that, let them do it. You know what I'm saying? So I got he's big and tough if you're a reporter with a hat on. If you're an offensive lineman, he get pushed around by him. He's been injured, and I can't blame him for the injuries. It's his body's got issues. He can't stay healthy. That's not his fault. It's not his fault he was drafted where he's at to our team. So I can't do anything but I can't be mad at him for anything like that. And it would be a lot easier to be mad at him if he didn't try. But every time I saw he was trying, it just hasn't amounted to anything. So we're done.
He looks the part, though. I mean, he really does. He's one of those guys that looks the part.
Have you ever seen a dude that big with abs?
No.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He definitely looks the part, and I think that's why I was just assuming he was kind of a big part of your guys' team, but I guess not.
That's kind of why I don't like the combine. Because you see these numbers and you see them without pads on, and
Mhm.
you're not focusing on what they've given you all year long. You're coming down right before the wire and being sold on another set of numbers that doesn't really match up to what you're going to see on the field. It's like the 40 times. We've seen blistering 40 times. These past combines, blistering
Mhm.
40 times. You know, Talanoa Funga was one of the fastest clocked people real time in game last year. One of the fastest clocked. He had one of the slowest 40 times.
Yeah, like a 4.5 or 4.6, I mean, or something
But
like that.
real game, he could run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, going way back, I think Jerry Rice was one of those guys who had a slow 40 time.
Yeah.
And it's like, watch this guy on the field. And I've always kind of thought the same as you. The Seahawks are infatuated with the combine numbers, but it's worked out with DK. But
Do you
I
know
just
about
hope they
Jerry
don't
Rice in
fall
the
in
Hill?
love. What's that?
Do you know about Jerry Rice in the Hill?
No.
Oh, look up
What?
Jerry Rice in the Hill. Many people have tried to be like Jerry Rice and run that hill every day, and they can't.
Oh, is it somewhere in the Bay or something?
Yeah, and it's just a nasty hill. You know what I'm saying? It's you going up, and he just keeps the same pace all the way up. And what it essentially his thought was, even as a wide receiver, if you've got somebody close to you where they're able to put their hands on you and put their weight on you, that's going to slow you down through the game. So essentially, he thought just running uphill for, an hour and a half, 2 hours, that'll just make it so I can't ever be tired during the game. This man had a bee fly into his helmet in practice, ran the route with the bee stinging his ear, caught the ball, and then the moment he caught the ball, he dropped the ball, ripped his helmet off, and then got his ear looked at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, he's a
consummate
dog.
pro. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of the combine, I hope to God that the Seahawks don't draft Anthony Richardson at number 5. That is one thing that would piss me off because, like you said, watch the tape. He's like super inaccurate. But
See, I I don't know. I have people who are big on them that did a lot of research, but I don't know what they're looking. I'm not looking at quarterbacks right now. If
yeah,
I'm looking
I
to look at
figured you
if
have
I'm
one
going to
too
research
many.
a quarterback, it's going to be like a Stetson Bennett. You know what I mean? It's going to be somebody like look, you guys should be picking up a Stetson Bennett.
That's what I want. His name, he's Hendon Hooker. He's from Tennessee. Have you heard of
Okay.
him?
Yeah.
That's who I want. Second, third round, a guy that can sit behind Geno for 1 year and then come in after that because
Well,
he had an ace.
I would
Go ahead.
still pick up like a Stetson Bennett. The reason being is look at Purdy. What do
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett and Purdy have in common?
I don't know.
They started a lot. They've been in all the biggest games. They won, they've lost, they've seen it all in the college level. They've played lots of snaps.
Yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even. Where did Purdy go to college?
Um, Iowa State,
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say it was like some
wasn't
SEC
it?
school or something.
He was whatever's opposite of Kittle. Him and Kittle, they were making jokes back and forth. They're like they're state rivals, I'm pretty sure. But
Oh yeah, so that would make sense. Iowa
it
State.
doesn't it doesn't really matter where they're at. But if they go to those big bowl games and they were, like a 4-year starter and stuff like that, that's something to look at. You know what I mean? And like maybe get your guy and then get him too, because you're talking about you might have a very good stable backup. And those guys can actually you can turn around and use the draft capital. So,
Mhm.
let's say Gino gets injured, right? And Hendon Hooker steps in, right? And he's doing a great job. He's a whiz. This is year 2. He's in the system year 2. He's a whiz. He's doing great. And then he's blowing out a game. And then you bring in Stetson Bennett. And then Stetson Bennett picks up right off where Hendon Hooker is. Now, you're not going to get rid of Hendon Hooker for Stetson Bennett. You obviously know he's better quality, this and that. But that doesn't mean that some other quarterback needy team isn't found their new starting quarterback and Stetson Bennett on your backup bench.
Yeah, so that's what you're thinking with Purdy right now, right? Or Lance.
Well, Sam Darnold even. So I don't think Sam Darnold, I want there to be a competition in training camp between Sam Darnold and Trey Lance. I'm not expecting Brock Purdy to be ready by week 1. So if you're not ready by week 1, then you're not playing by week 3. You know what I mean? Week 4. Yeah. He might even be on IR till week 5 or whatever. You know what I mean? Just to kind of, you've got 2 quarterbacks. You're going to have to figure it out. Niners start slow anyways, no matter what. You should be good after week 5 to bring in Purdy if Trey really sucks or this or that. You know what I mean? Anything that happens, right? Which I think we need to figure out what we have with Trey. It's a big thing is because you can't just
you haven't seen him. He played 1.5 games last year? Not even a half. What did he get hurt in the first quarter?
The first drive, the 49ers lost their quarterback on the first drive in all the games.
Oh, it was the first drive against the Seahawks, huh?
I believe so. Oh, yeah, maybe it might have been the second. It might have been the second because I think we might have gone down and scored, and then he come back down, and then
it was a painful game to watch.
Oh,
or at least as a Seahawks fan, it sucked. But I mean,
I'm sure you probably
I did want
to.
What, by beating you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was talking to Peo last night, and I was like, it's so crazy. Except last year is definitely the outlier, but it's like okay, God, what is it? So like the Rams own us, we own the 49ers, and then the 49ers own the Rams. It's a weird little triangle that happens.
And the Cardinals are just bitches.
That's what I said last night. I go, they usually just kind of suck.
So they stand on the sideline watching. Like, hey,
yeah, I mean, I'm not a Cardinal. I'm not a Cardinals guy just because obviously they're our division rival, but they don't have any fans. I'm on the LA Chargers. They don't have any fans. I don't like it. I don't like when teams like that succeed.
Well, the Cardinals do have fans. They do. They're just all in Arizona, and they don't. I bet you all the Colin Kaepernick stuff probably made a lot of the Arizona Cardinals fans just not watch their team anymore.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. You're right.
But I can't talk too much trash when the city of Santa Clara wouldn't let the 49ers play in their own stadium. Arizona Cardinals were nice enough to let us use their stadium as our home stadium. So I appreciate that.
So as a Seahawks fan, and obviously as a Husky fan, it was so awesome to see the Seahawks beat the 49ers in that stadium. And you could still see the Oregon Ducks logos. Still, you could still just faintly see them on the field. And it was such an awesome moment. Obviously, you're from up here. I freaking hate the Ducks. So.
And see, my stepmom is a big Ducks fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, she's born in Oregon.
Yeah, we're
Estacada.
Yeah, obviously there's more Cougar fan than Ducks fans here, but I guarantee if I always hate the Ducks. But yeah, I just hope the Seahawks don't pick a quarterback at number 5. That would really piss me off.
Have you noticed that the Cougar and UW thing is actually split along political lines?
Yeah.
I thought that's just when I like figured that out, I was like, wait, what? wait, what? Really? like really?
Yeah. But sorry. Yeah, I hope to God the Seahawks don't take a quarterback at number 5, and I don't think they will. I think they'll either trade down or take Will Anderson if he's still there. I mean, we've never had an edge guy. Like, we've never really had an edge guy. Like, you guys have Bosa, right? We're afraid of Bosa. You know, we've never
Well,
had like
we
a
should
Bosa,
be.
Khalil Mack. And don't get that's another thing. I like I do like Nick Bosa. I do not like Joey Bosa. He seems like a douchebag. If
We
I was Nick Bosa, I'd stay away. I'd just be like, that's not even my brother.
we we call Joey the whiny one.
Yeah. Well, you saw him
Look,
before the Niners playoff game, right? Talking shit to those Eagles fans, or the Eagles fans were talking shit to him. And he's like, at least I'm rich, you know? And I was like, dude, come on.
I he's Joey's not smart. He's good at what he does. Nick is smart enough to know he doesn't know a lot as far as when it comes to other stuff. You know, when it comes to being a D end, he could probably coach a lot of teams in the NFL right now about technique and all this type of stuff on being a defensive end. I'm telling you, he could probably do it right now, get a job. But I think he knows he doesn't know a lot about this other stuff, so he's just quiet about things because he's not trying to get in a a situation like Joey. Joey's like, yeah, I'm gonna say, you want to hear some stupid shit?
Yeah, that
Gab
was
around.
him.
Yeah,
The best is when he threw his helmet, the coach picked it up and the coach handed it to him. I'm pretty sure it was their head coach.
it's their
And
head
then he
coach.
just throws it right back on the
Now,
ground again.
now that is a move that I would do.
Me
If I was
too.
that mad, I'd be like, why the fuck are you giving me my goddamn? I told you where the fuck I wanted it to be. I might even get mad at him. Like, why the fuck are you giving it? I clearly wanted it to be right the fuck there. You put this the fuck right back there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. I don't know.
that's
I
I'm
just I
petty.
really don't like Joey
I'm
Bosa, and
petty.
it's awesome to see the ref just he said something to him and then he threw that flag, and I was like, all right, whatever.
And personally, I think refs need to not be as petty as I am. You know what I mean? I think they need to
Yeah, there needs
understand,
to it
yeah,
needs to
that
be
they're
less of a personal thing, you know?
yes,
Yeah, 100%.
understand that they're talking about the uniform and not the person underneath it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they should just be a number and a logo, right? So
There should be a wanting to, like, instead of throwing a flag,
mhm.
wanting to pull someone aside after the game and talk to them about it. Like,
Yeah,
there
that
was
would
a
make
referee I heard about. There was a referee who was always in the phone book. He was like a head referee for like ever, and he was always in the phone book. And people would call him up to complain about plays and calls, and he would go down through and explain to them why he made the call he did, and he would take the time with everybody. And I'm not saying that's what we need to do in this day's world, but things like
Uh-huh.
how how the XFL has their booth reviews.
I was just about to say, I actually kind of like that, where
I
you can
totally
kinda
like it.
see I like and I've always liked Dean Blandino, to be completely honest. I mean,
Well,
but I mean
it's comforting to know to see what they're looking at and see what they're talking about and not hear, yeah, let's fuck this team because of the sports books. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
that's what we're trying to get out of this. We want to hear how they're rationalizing it. And
Mhm.
I think that would give people more
Peace of mind.
yeah, totally. Even if it's going against them.
Yeah, for sure. I'm one of those people, like, I'll be pissed if a call goes against me, but if it's right, it's right. You know what I mean?
I
I'm one
just
of those guys.
So I used to be a ref. I refed for a year.
Uh-huh.
I guess used to be a ref if you only ref for a year, but I got the experience. And you're going to have different crews that are going to call different things different way. Even the other side of the field. Like I was working in crews with people I had never worked with before, on a weekly basis. It was just all getting moved around to people's availability. So
Mhm.
in that situation, you might be getting calls on one side of the field that you're not getting on the other side of the field. You just need to make sure that whatever it is it's consistent out of that, at least out of that ref. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if
for
he's
sure.
not calling holding, you know what I mean? And then he's gonna call holding against you, they'd be like, whoa, bro. You know what I mean? Like weren't calling holding before. Now you're calling holding. Okay, so now what is it? You know what I mean? Are you gonna call holding or are you not gonna call holding? I just want it to be one or the other so we can play this
Yeah.
game and I can bank on something.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I was gonna ask you. God damn it, I totally forgot what I was gonna ask you. But the Rams don't pick till 99 in the draft. I mean, you guys don't have a lot of
Oh
needs, though, do
no.
you? I mean,
We
or
pick
do you?
we pick at 99.
Yeah, you pick 99.
Yeah.
That's your first pick,
Not the
right?
Rams. Yes.
Oh my god, sorry, that was my bad. I had the
I'm more
Rams right.
handsome than Peo.
Yeah, no, I had the Rams right under you because they don't have a first round pick either. I have a little
Yeah.
notepad, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like you guys don't. I mean, do you guys really have that big of needs, or I guess who do you have your eye on, or are you looking to package some of those and trade up? Just what do you think?
It all depends. So it doesn't look like we're going after a right tackle in free agency. So I feel that we are definitely going to need to draft one. And I feel that that's more of an urgency because we've got Colton McKivitz and Jalen Moore as our tackles. So to me,
And that
it's not what I'm banking on, especially for starting. We could do things. We can move Zakelj into guard. We can move Burford into tackle, and we can start Poe at center. We could do that if need be. If Colton McKivitz sucks, but I don't know
yeah,
if.
I was kind of watching your spreadsheet, on the you had that Friday night deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I saw how you kind of had it laid out a little bit with the O line. So
Yeah, I was an offensive lineman. I was left tackle, Marysville Pilchuck. But yeah, there was a offensive line, defensive line. That's a big thing. Anybody, if you're in high school, and you're offensive lineman, defensive lineman, also wrestle. Okay, it's going to give you great conditioning, and it's going to give you good footwork. It's going to teach you how to kind of move your feet in a way to make them move their feet in certain situations, and it's also going to get your hand fighting down. So, but your
yeah,
conditioning is going to go through the roof. I'm telling you. I was
yeah,
190 pounds, and I could play both sides of the ball, offense, defense, and all special teams.
yeah. Wrestling was definitely rough, conditioning wise.
Oh,
I
were
mean,
you
it
a
doesn't
wrestler?
seem like what.
Were you a wrestler?
Just when I was younger, like
Gotcha.
I think eighth or ninth grade was my last year wrestling.
When you get into
But
high school, it's different, bro. It's like we were running, so we'd run like I think it was a mile and a half, mile and 3/4 before a practice. Either that or you'd run a mile and you do 4 sets of stadium stairs. So that's what you
yeah,
would do before practice. And you go and take a shower. And then you go upstairs, you mop the mats, and then you
mhm.
run around in circles until the mats are dry. And then and then you wrestle. And then at the end of wrestling, you run again.
Yeah.
And then you go and shower.
I have a couple friends that wrestled in college, and they're probably the most in shape out of all out of
Yeah.
all my friends that have. I mean, are the wrestlers always have been. But
And the other thing is wrestling, like most of the times, like you're dealing with pain. So wrestling, how you get moves done, yes, you could be fancy, you could be quick and this and that, but sometimes really to get somebody into a lot of the finishing moves and do it to get them into certain positions, you have to create pain to make them make a certain decision to then take advantage of it. So good wrestlers can block out pain. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes you not
yeah,
make those
exactly.
decisions and it makes you think about things, think your way around it and out of it. So I think, wrestling's a great sport when you're playing on the line because you're gonna get hurt on the line. It's a great. Oh, I love the line. It was
Yeah,
carnage,
always.
carnage. Oh, violence,
Every play.
violence.
Every play.
Oh, every play
But,
was beautiful. It
um
was.
but, also god damn it, what was it? I literally just had it. Sorry, that was totally my bad. I'm having a total brain fart right now. Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask you about the draft. So are you guys as 49ers fans kinda, like, a little mad that you gave up as much as you did for Trey Lance? Or are you guys fine with it? I guess I would ask.
I can't speak for the whole fan base on that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a wide spectrum. I personally like what has it stopped us from doing?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get
We
it.
gave up all that capital. He hasn't even really played. And we still almost making runs to the Super Bowl on. We were able to turn around and get Christian McCaffrey. We got Christian
Yeah.
McCaffrey for a
Mhm.
second, a third, a fourth, a fifth, a sixth. You know what I mean? Like, and we still
Yeah.
got 11 picks in the draft.
Yeah, no. I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those guys that was like, "Oh, fuck, he'll be hurt by the time we play him anyways." With McCaffrey.
I in the beginning, I was like, is this gonna be worth it? Is it gonna pay out? Because first thing, him on our team, once I heard it, I was like, oh wow. You know what I mean? Because it on our offense, I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, already,
He's like
you got deep. Yeah.
like I think of Jawan Jennings. Jawan Jennings, the day that we found that out, he's like, he comes out. Was it Jawan Jennings or was it Aziz? It was one of them guys. They go, baby. And she's like, yeah. And she says, we just got a white boy. That's all he can say. Like he's talking about like we got ourselves a white boy that does some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like it reminded me what he said reminded me like we used to call what's his name? Matt Hughes. We used to call Matt Hughes the white gorilla because he had these big old lats in the shoulders, right? He just looked like a white gorilla. And like the way he was talking about it, I was like, he's talking about Matt Hughes. He's talking about, I think we got ourselves a white gorilla. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't
Are you
hook up
talking about
now.
Matt Hughes? Matt Hughes, the UFC fighter?
Yeah, Matt Hughes, the UFC fighter.
Okay. I was like, I thought you were talking about the Niners for a second. I was like, man, I don't know who the fuck that was.
Well, when I heard him say we got a white boy, I was thinking like, yeah, it's a white boy like a Matt Hughes. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
He's not your average, he's not your average. You know what I mean? Like how many white guys we got running back in the league right now?
Oh,
He's
probably
one of the
one.
nastiest.
Yeah.
And you got to be one of the nastiest to compete. So I was like, oh gosh, it was hilarious. Somebody was talking about Bosa's the only white guy on the defense. They're like, we got to get him another guy. then it was like, bring his brother in. Everybody on that team loves Bosa. Everybody loves him. Like there's been drama coming out, his girlfriend saying words and stuff like that, or quoting a word or something. I don't know what was said, but everybody on the team loves Bosa. Bosa's, he doesn't care what color people are. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to line up against a quarterback and take him to the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that's how it should be. That's 100% how it
like
should
everybody.
be.
So the 49ers, it's very it's a very liberal fan base, and him coming in, he's comes from a conservative family, a conservative guy, whatever. Personally, to me, I didn't even think he knew what the hell his beliefs were at that point in time. When you're that young, you don't really know what's going on. You know what I mean? He's just reciting the same shit his dad says. That's what I was pretty much looking at. You know what I mean? Like Here in 10 years, he'll have firm beliefs in what he thinks is going on. But right now, he's just reciting what his dad says and what his buddies are, saying in the group chat. But they're like this and that, and I'm like,
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I'm not bringing him to the team to be our senator. I'm bringing him I want him on the team to go after the quarterback. Like, who cares? Who gives
Yeah,
a
that's
shit?
just
Nobody on the defense cares.
same as me. I don't
Nobody on
give
the
a shit
defense
what you
cares.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're Kyrie Irving, I really don't give a shit what you think. So,
as long as we can agree on the world is round, we're good.
yeah. Yeah, some people wouldn't though, like Aaron Rodgers or something like that. Aaron Rodgers might not think the world.
Is he? I don't think Aaron Rodgers is a flat earther, is he?
No,
That
I'm
might
just
be his
being a
next
smart ass.
transformance step, though.
I was just being a smart ass because
he's a couple sage burnings away.
Yeah, exactly. That would be something that he would definitely pull up. Did you watch that today? His deal?
No.
Just
so
heard
about 2
it.
years ago, I was like, wow, Aaron Rodgers might actually be a cool guy. And then about 6 months after that, I was like, God, Aaron Rodgers is a piece of shit. And I've been there
I haven't
since.
liked him.
I thought he was a piece of shit. Yeah.
I haven't liked him since he won that Super Bowl, to be honest. I was big on Green Bay, and now I can go ahead and start kind of liking the Packers a little bit again. I'm planning on going to Lambeau this season. With me and my dad were always supposed to do it, and me and his best friend are going to do it now instead. So
yeah.
I'd love to go to Lambeau Field. I mean it's definitely off the bucket list. I want to go to Levi's Stadium too. I feel like that'd be sweet. Even though last year when you guys came over here, it was like being at Levi's Stadium. It was insane. I was so pissed off. You guys showed up so hard in Seattle this year. I mean, unlike nothing I've ever seen.
It hasn't always been like that. But now that there's a lot more money in the Bay, and this has kind of become a thing where that's kind of like the flex, is that people are flying out to all the away games. It's not necessarily that you got home game season tickets. It's to show up.
Well, and I've noticed too, ever since we came back from COVID, so last 21, it was like, God damn it, where did all these guys come from? Because it wasn't, I mean, there was always a good portion of Niners fans. It's not like we were playing the Jacksonville Jaguars or something, it was like, but now it's like they're traveling like the Green Bay Packers or the Pittsburgh Steelers fans. Like all these people are showing up, and like it was a Thursday night game, so everybody in Seattle at the Thursday games, they show up pretty late, right? It's a 5:15 kickoff. They'll be in their seats by like 5:10, But these Niners fans were there early, and we were walking through the concourses and let's go Niners, and I'm like, oh my God, I was like, now I know what it feels like to be a Cardinals fan when the Seahawks show up.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, we just invade their stadium, and you guys did it to us, and I was like, boy, this is rough. I mean, the only time I can remember it being like that is the last time the Packers came to town. That was the last I remember it being like that.
Yeah, the Packers, they do show out. That I went to a Seahawks game in the Tacoma Dome. Or sorry, not was
Husky Stadium?
Dome? No, it was before Husky Stadium. It was actually the Tacoma Dome.
The Kingdome.
Kingdome, there we go. In the Kingdome, and like there was definitely more Packers fans than there was Seahawks fans. John Freeze was the quarterback, and Reggie White was playing for Green Bay. And I thought the Seahawks were going to win. I didn't know anything about the Seahawks. I was a Niners fan. I was thinking home game, the home team usually wins home games, or you know what I mean? That's what I know from my 49ers fandom, is that home teams win home games. Not then and there.
Not that day. I mean, and we've come a long ways, but I always joke around like it was kind of nice last year. It was like a lot of the Fairweather fans have left, and then they came back towards the middle of the season. But it was nice seeing the 12 since 12. A lot of them were gone.
Dude. I'm glad we're talking about the 2012s because I know a lot of real Seahawks fans and they still have their old school jacket from the 70s. They got their old school jacket from the 80s. You know what I mean? They got their old school jacket from the 90s. Those are the people that I respect. A lot of these, usually the louder ones are the 2012s. You know what I mean? The guys yapping their mouth and boasting all this and that. And one thing I noticed is the stadium has gotten quieter.
Yeah, and I think fans have, or not fans, sorry. I think the opposing teams have really learned how to deal with the noise too compared to when they used to.
I don't know because I don't think it's as loud.
You don't think so? It still sounds as loud.
Not at all.
I mean, I think so. Maybe not on the TV. It still gets pretty loud.
It used to be so loud that you couldn't stop the camera from shaking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't like to give up on my guys, you know. But yeah, no, I hate the bandwagon fans. So I guess I'm not really giving up on my guys. But
it doesn't make sense when your stadium is set to amplify sound like that if you're if you're a Seahawks fan, you're in the stadium, you shouldn't be screaming at the top of your lungs when the opposing offense is on the field. Makes no sense to me.
Oh, you don't like it?
No, it just makes no sense to me. So, as a 49ers fan, if my stadium was built to amplify the sound, I'm not a big yeller and this and that. But if my stadium's built to amplify this, I am standing up. I am yelling every time your offense is on the field. I'm doing whatever I can because we got a force multiplier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what a force multiplier is?
No, yeah, that's what I do. I thought you were saying to not stand up and scream when, you know, especially
that's what I'm talking about.
Or only when we're on defense.
Yeah.
Dude, the worst is we'll make a big play and it never used to happen. And once again, it started in like the 2012s, you know, the mid 2010s. We'll make a big play, right? It'll be first and goal, and the fans will start screaming, Seahawks. And it's like, shut up. Do not yell until we score this touchdown or kick this field goal.
Yeah. No, I think it should be coming afterwards. You know what I mean? You need to like once your team kicks off, that needs to be as loud as it can. So that returner is sitting there just like deafened and he's looking up at the ball, wondering, can't hear footsteps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the one good thing is you can't hear footsteps like that.
Yeah, and us and the Patriots, we were two of the first teams that actually kicked the ball off first when we won the coin toss. We defer, especially when we're at home, because you know that first half, everybody's in their seat, everybody's pumped, and then you know, coming out of halftime, a lot of fans are still taking a piss, getting beer, whatever, and then it's dead silent. I mean, it's just little things that make a little bit of difference
also,
there.
If you do things right, you can, if you've got a better offense and you got a good defense, you can kick off to them first, and you can make it to where at the end of the half you have the ball and you're going in to score, and then you get the ball in the second half to the point where
I was gonna say
at the end of the half,
the 2-for-1,
you can kind of tie it up, and then you could get the lead on the beginning, and then hopefully be the last one to score at the end of the half or at the end of the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You get that 2-for-1 too. But I think we got a pretty good. We just picked up a guy from Denver. His name's Draymond Jones. I don't know if you've heard about him at all.
It's what position?
D end. Well, like more of a D tackle. He plays more of a 3 technique, so it'll be a D end for us. Yeah, he'll play a shade outside the guard.
Okay. So I can't remember his name earlier, the one we got from the Raiders. That guy plays like inside out. So he can play 3 tech, but he can also go out and play our 9 tech. You know what I mean? Like on rundowns. Well, it's not really a 9 tech on rundowns because it kind of shorten our wide 9 down on the running downs, and then we crank it out to that wide 9 on that 3rd and long.
Yeah.
no tackle whatsoever. Dude, when I was a defensive end, anytime it was third and long, I would step out a little bit more because I could get a better angle. I could take like 2, 3 steps before I'm touched, and I could get all my momentum up, and I can make moves and do all that there. And I thought it was a better thing, but
Well, another thing too is I don't know if you've talked to any Seahawks fans or anybody lately about the Seahawks, and they go, "Oh, well, they switched to like a 3-4 last year. They're not a 4-3 team anymore." But we're not really a 3-4 team. So we only played, I think it was less than 30% of our defensive snaps last year were played with a nose tackle. So it's almost like we're more of like a multiple. We're trying to change into more of like a multiple defensive scheme kind of team. That makes sense.
that's not good.
I don't know.
So the reason why I don't like the 4-3 or the 3-4 is because you're gonna have you can do a lot with it. You can do a whole bunch of stuff with it. But what you can't do is be simple.
Yeah, and that's what we were known for
You know what
such
I
a
mean?
long time.
You play simple,
With the
you can
4-3.
play faster.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
that's like, anytime you can make the opposing team think, there's going to be slower. So that's why, with something like the 3-4 against Kyle's offense, you think he's not going to be able to put you in stretch situations more? Once he figures out what the rest of your defense is, there's more stretch points. You know what I mean? Because now the ends are having to be moved in and out. You know what I mean? So your linebackers, your outside linebackers are now a part of the game instead of just going towards one normal way. So you've got, and once he knows, they're stopping and they're waiting for this, he can have your guy standing there doing his job, but looking like an idiot to everybody because he's not doing what they all think he should be doing. And he's not doing it because once he does, he's going to fuck everything else over. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, no, I get you 100%. But yeah, I don't know. We got this Draymond Jones from. Pardon?
It causes you to have too much different personnel on the team. You know what I mean? Like rotation pieces. What happens if your outside linebacker that you like in your 3-4 goes down? Now you can't, not all your ends can play that. So what? Now you can't do the 3-4?
Yeah, exactly. And it's almost like that's what it seemed more like yesteryear. Was like just our defensive linemen didn't understand their run fits. And that's why we were just getting killed by the run all, especially the latter portion of the year. So, but this Draymond Jones guy, I mean, he can play inside out. He actually had 11th in the league. His pass rush win percentage was 11th in the league. So he knows how to get to the quarterback. So that's good, and that's what we need. I mean, against you guys, especially in the second half, that's what I kept wanting to bring up with you. Now that I finally remembered it, I'm going to say it. It was almost like a turning point in that playoff game. At the very end of the second quarter, do you remember when that guy tried to twist Debo's ankle?
I think it was the beginning of the second half. That was on the drive down. Yes, and yes, that's totally a thing.
Yeah. He's a guy that we tried to pick up, or we picked up. He was one of those guys that Gruden reached on. It was Jonathan Abram, and we picked him up in the middle of the year. Like we put him on a practice squad. Then we called him up for that game because we had a bunch of secondary players. And it almost like that was the turning point of the game. It's like it woke you guys up, like it flipped a switch. And I was so pissed at that guy, even before it flipped a switch for you guys. When he tried to grab his ankle, I was like, dude, that's not how we play the game. That is not Seahawks football.
My coach Kyle looked like he was about to throw fists. Like, I have a really sneaky suspicion that Kyle and Debo are really close.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
because ready to
that
throw
right
fists.
there, he was already, dude. So he was like, grab a strap. Like, he went walking through somebody. Like, did you not see him bump into people? And that was by mistake. That was he was letting people know, I'm here right now. You know what I'm saying? And I'm here. Feel my presence. And if you do anything, flags are going to get thrown. You know what I mean? Because I'm the coach. You can't touch me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
He was pissed.
No, and don't get me wrong, I can't lie to you. I'm a huge homer. Like, usually I'll defend my guys no matter what. That was one instance where I was like, Jesus Christ. You know, we don't whatever momentum we had, it was completely gone the moment he tried to twist Debo's ankle. I was like, dude, it was such a chump play. I was so pissed. I was embarrassed that he was on the team. I think I texted my friends like right when that happened. I go, dude, cut him right now. Don't even let him suit out. Send him to the locker room.
You remember when Jimmy Ward hit Gino?
No, in that game?
It was end the half. It was the end of the half. He slid. Jimmy hit him. You guys
Yeah.
got the penalty, kicked the field goal. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So everybody was, Jimmy made a mistake there. I was like,
Can you hear me? Well, everybody, I think we just lost Ryan, but I'll tell you what, we'll definitely be back next Wednesday. I think we're gonna try to do this a weekly thing. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and thanks everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it.